What's going on, everyone? Nick from Comic Culture here. Time for Nick at Night, my weekly comic book review show. Let's get into the books I read this week. I got a bunch of them, so we're going to blast through these. We have Nick's issue number 1. Got it for the cover, stayed for the story, and to be honest with you, it didn't really hit all the beats that I would like this book to have hit. It's basically featuring Kamala Khan. She's walking around as Miss Marvel. She's trying to remind us that, hey, we're past the Krakoa era. There's a lot of mutant haters still out there. She goes to university. It was ran by these bad people back in the day. She's running around town, just kind of narrating what's going on right now. We do get some X-23 in here too, but a very limited capacity. And then we get some other mutants in here too that Kamala runs into, who are kind of like bad influences and take her to a club and they go hang out. And of course, there's some drama that breaks out. And, Wolverine is here to remind us hey, there's still some dangerous people out there, Kamala, so maybe you shouldn't be messing around and having fun as a teenager. Whatever. Art's okay, but, to be honest, this is not a world of the mutants that I really care about. Mutants going around, just kind of narrating where they are in their life at that moment and running into other teenagers like them and they're having teenager type problems. I'm not really into that. I'm out of that phase in my life. I don't really resonate with that. That's basically what this book is about, though. Let me know if you read it down below. Next up from Marvel, we have Ultimate Black Panther issue number 6. Brian Hill on this one. We do have a guest artist on here, which is fairly noticeable, but there's some pretty epic moments to begin with in this story. I think because we have a guest artist on here, they are kind of treading water in a way. This series, it had a lot of promise in the beginning. I'm feeling like I'm getting more bored with each issue. And this one right here, it had its moments. It had some interesting things in it. We have Khonshu, we have Raw, actually stepping out onto the battlefield a little bit here. But at the end of the day, the confrontation between them and Black Panther just didn't make any sense. It was kind of anticlimactic and kind of weird. And also Stu and Link mentioned on Supreme Clientele this past week, the costume keeps changing for Black Panther. And that was one of the coolest parts of the Ultimate Universe, seeing what the character differences are. I don't really see a difference between this and regular Black Panther, to be honest with you, except for some people take on different roles. But other than that, this series is kind of waning on me a little bit. What do you guys think about Ultimate Black Panther and the Ultimate Universe in general? Let me know down below. Jumping over to DC, we have Zatanna bringing down the house, issue number 2. Got it for the Frizzen cover. I enjoyed issue number 1 enough, but I was really confused about where she was in the world. Then I realized it's a Black Label book. So it could be anything it wants to be. This is a Zatanna that grew up based on some tragedy in her past, kind of ignoring the magical side of her life. Her dad was this powerful wizard, Zatanna, and you explore that a little bit more into here and maybe some of the secret societies he was a part of, which is really cool to see in the book. But like I said, she's kind of ignoring the magical side of her existence right now. She's on stage pulling rabbits out of hats and things like that. She has the capacity of magic, but she doesn't understand it. She hasn't been trained properly in it. And we meet some other characters that are kind of pulling her in that direction, join this society, learn how to master your craft and stuff. But she's really stubborn. She's got a lot of trauma she's overcoming. So I do like that kind of perspective on this character. So I am digging that. The colors and the art are really interesting. I do like that a lot. And the story is fun so far. So you can't beat the covers as well. Zatanna issue number 2. Let me know if you guys are reading this one. Detective Comics 1087 from Rom V. Things are slowly building right now. The pot is about to boil over, and I can't wait to see the final battle between Batman and this secret society that has taken over Gotham, converting some of the civilians into these monsters. The best part about this book, I think, are the supporting cast members. Nightwing, we have Azrael, we got Cassandra Cain, we got Mr. Freeze, we got Two-Face, we got all these different characters on Batman's side right now, and they all have grudges they're trying to resolve, and it's just such a fun time seeing it from their perspectives and watching all these people team up in ways that we really haven't seen before. That's really cool. A lot of amazing art in here too. We get some Catwoman in this as well. Great coloring. The story is slowly building still right now, but it's going to end up in some place. It's going to have an epic conclusion, I think. And so I'm really on board for that right there. Tom Taylor was announced recently to be taking over the run, I think in about 3 issues at 1090. So yeah, we're going to see what that looks like, what the scene looks like at that point. So just a few more issues of this run to go. If you haven't read it, collected edition is going to be the best way to do it. Let me know if you did though, down below. Batman Dark Age, book number 3 from Mark Russell and the Allreds on here. I absolutely love Mark Russell's take on Superman Space Age and Batman Dark Age. It takes the origin story and the story of Batman as we know it today, and it flips it. We have the same basic conclusion, but the whole origin story is different. He's grown up in tragedy, but he actually gained his powers through going to Vietnam, collaborating with Ra's al Ghul, like in the battlefield, things like that. That's how he became like this agent of the shadow, and he brought all those skills back to Gotham. And of course, everybody has a slightly different origin story with the Allred's art on there and some hysterical moments in the writing. It adds to a really, really dynamic book, and it's just done so well. So if you're not sick of Batman just yet, you can definitely read this book, and it kind of refreshes it a little bit because of this new perspective we have. This issue here features how him and Dick Grayson got together. Again, it's a very similar origin story, but a lot of the beats are different. But, you know, it's basically how he became the next Robin. And there's just a lot of great moments inside this book. It's actually a retrospective story as well, because we were introduced to an older Bruce Wayne in a retirement home. And he's, you know, either journaling or retelling this story or something like that. So we have that perspective to deal with at some point. A little bit of Joker in here too, a little bit of Harley, some Chase Meridian in here too. So it's just a really, really great book, and extra size pages. I think it's going to go 6 issues. There should be a Wonder Woman one coming out after this to complete the Trinity. But yeah, this Batman book, must read. Definitely check it out. Going over to Image for the next few books, we have Creature from the Black Lagoon, Rom V on this one. This is the conclusion of the Universal Monster run for Creature. This is issue number 4. Now, I have not really enjoyed this run, to be honest with you. I want it to be more creature-centric. We're actually following this murderer, serial killer, and this past victim that he had who he just couldn't kill. He saw something in her. She escapes, she finds him eventually, and the creature at the same time, and there's this weird battle between all of them going on in this moment. The serial killer, like, understands the legacy of the creature and actually evolves himself artificially into the creature himself, which was like a weird take, you know. I would rather have this book be completely focused on the Creature from the Black Lagoon, forget the whole serial killer and forget everybody else, you know, tell that story right there. But we get this other story instead, and it just didn't really hit for me, to be honest with you. I didn't feel engaged with the characters. Everything seemed weird. I didn't see this coming, to be honest, either. And I just really didn't dig it either. Like, the art was a little bit weak in my opinion too. So, you know, kind of a miss, I would say, on this Universal Monster. We had Dracula from Tynan and Martin Simmons, which like blew everybody away. This was our second introduction to the monster or Universal Monster universe. We have Frankenstein coming up pretty soon, which I'm really excited for. So Creature, kind of a miss for me. What'd you guys think? The Six Fingers from Dan Water, we have issue number 5, the conclusion of the serial killer perspective of this dual story we had going on with the One Hand. The One Hand from Rom V concluded about a month ago, it feels like, and we saw what the ending of that situation looked like. Pretty much a Matrix type ending. Everyone's plugged in and living this weird world. There's like this Matrix code over the world right now, and we're trying to understand that. This is the book that tries to unpack that perspective, and I think it fell a little bit flat, especially since we had the conclusion of the One Hand already, which revealed this Matrix-esque type of a world. So all the beats inside this book, the revelations in this book, fell flat to me because I didn't quite know what I was supposed to learn from it. We have all these cogs, which are basically like metahumans, or not metahumans, but cyborgs in a way. They basically like revealed themselves to be everywhere, right? And again, this is like the Matrix analog, right? Everyone's in a pod essentially in this airplane, and they might have like their cog version walking around, and this is them breaking free in a way. I think what this book really needed was it needed a release schedule in the same week. So you can read the one and then you can read the other one. And maybe it was guided in the front page, like, hey, before you read this issue, make sure to read the Six Fingers issue number whatever first. Then you can read both those issues in the same week. And I think the presentation, the story would have been a little bit more cohesive, and it would have worked out better for me anyways. But I don't know. What'd you guys think of this series overall? Let me know down below. All right, next up from Image Comics, we have Sacrificers. This is issue number 10 from Rook Remender. One of my favorite books out right now. For the past few issues, we've had this perspective shift a little bit. So this is Seluna's issue. So she's basically the daughter of the sun god and the moon god. And there's a big conspiracy going on in the land where they basically sacrifice some of their patrons for their longevity of themselves. And they grind them basically into this elixir that they drink. She's unraveled a lot of the mystery right now. There's some betrayals going on. She's on the run. She's lost a lot of her powers, and now she's with the commoners right now, just trying to survive as she's being hunted down. That's where we are inside of this book. It's a complete opposite to the story of Pigeon, who was one of the sacrificers. He's been imbued with the power of the gods right now, and he's on a revenge mission to take all the gods out because he's basically lost faith. So she's running around right now, going town to town, being chased out. No one believes who she actually is. inside the book. And we learn pretty quickly in this book that she has some kind of latent power, some kind of unconscious power or evil within inside of her that is wreaking havoc on the town around her. And I think we're going to be unpacking that a little bit more, obviously, in later issues. Kind of a curveball to me, to be honest with you. I did not see this coming at all, but she's got this darkness within her that basically wipes out the entire town. And we're going to be learning more about that later. Great surprise connective ending at the very end. Those last couple of pages got me really excited for issue number 11. But Sacrificers, great book, great art. Guest artist on here, still did a good job. Let me know if you read it though down below. We're going to go over to Ghost Machine for Rook Exodus issue number 4. Jeff Johns on this one. We have Fabok and Brad Anderson on here. Again, there's not much I can say about the art. The art is spectacular in this book. Fabok is doing an outstanding job. Brad Anderson on the colors, knocking it out of the park. So it's a complete like image insane visual treat with inside this book. So definitely get it for the art. The story is pretty good as well. We're on this future planet that has gone to hell right now. A lot of people are gone, and the people that are left are these wardens, and these wardens control different aspects of nature, animal-wise. The main one is Rook. He controls these birds. He's teamed up with this girl who's controlling these wolves right now, and they're basically fighting for survival at this moment because a lot of their friends have been either turned to like this dark side or have been murdered in the past. And there's somebody out there that's collecting all these masks of the wardens, and he wants to take over this world, and he's like a big beefy guy. So a lot of cool things happening in this book. Definitely a visual treat. There's going to be a lot of great showdowns in the future, I could imagine. So yeah, Rook Exodus. It's a really exciting book. Let me know if you guys are reading it down below. Next up is Void Rivals issue number 11 from Robert Kirkman and Lorenzo. This is the funniest issue of the run so far. I was laughing my ass off the entire time because we're in the middle of this battle between some of our bad guys and Derek and Salila, and we have Stinger in here as well, doing hilarious stuff. Like, Derek is not keeping up his end of the battle, and Salila is just wrecking shop. And the banter between all these characters is just absolutely hilarious. So definitely check it out just for that alone. Interior art is just what we come to expect. Absolutely brilliant. I love all the different little nuances inside this book, right? We have this relationship that's been building. Derek is really seeing the light right now. He's not seeing them versus us. You know, he's trying to bring everybody together because they've learned a lot throughout this entire series, and he's trying to apply those lessons going forward. She's a little harder to convince. Salila's having a little bit harder time, and she's got a few more secrets that we're still trying to figure out right now. Some old rivals we thought we were taken care of are coming back in this book as well. And yeah, it was just a really great time, really action-packed, tons of humor in here, still some secrets and world building as well. So number 11, knocked it out of the park. What'd you guys think? Let's jump over to something epic, issue number 12 from Kadransky. Brilliant book. If you like detective stories, but you also like mythology, lore, legend, this is a great combination for you. It takes what we know about epics from the first volume and like blows it up to 11, which is really great. The art continues to be spectacular in here, and this is an action-packed issue as well. There's so many cool things happening inside this book. It's pulling from all different types of mythology, which is brilliant, I think. And so in a world filled with imagination, this book definitely utilizes that as well. So again, if those types of stories resonate with you, this is like the perfect combination of all of those themes. So definitely make sure to check out something epic. One of my favorite books out right now. Let me know if you're reading it. Titan Comics, Conan the Barbarian, issue number 13. Man, this has been one of the best, most consistent runs of comics I've read in a very long time. We're on issue number 13, and I cannot wait for each and every issue to come out. And this book is absolutely no different right here. And I think the reason for it is pretty straightforward. It's all about the hero's journey. It's all about conquering fear, overcoming the odds, believing in yourself, and just doing what you know to be right. This one right here has a little bit of crisis of faith built into it as well. We have Conan trying to reach his gods that live in the mountain. We have flashbacks when he was a child training right here, and he doesn't really quite have the faith of like the older people in his tribe. And this book really explores that. Like, where is our God? What is going on? Well, he's the God of the mountains. Which mountains? Well, all of the mountains. Things like that. So this is a journey of Conan going through and trying to find the gods that his people serve. You know, like he wants something tangible, something like that. And of course, he runs into all kinds of barriers and wildlife and other people that he has to contend with. And he does so in like the noblest way possible, according to his culture and his upbringing, you know? So again, it's all about fighting the odds. It's all about the hero's journey and, you know, exploring the world around you. So the themes are like instantly resonating with me, which is probably why I love the book. But yeah, Conan issue number 13, new arc starting right here. So jump on in. It's been amazing so far. Let me know if you're reading it. Next up from Mad Cave Studios, we have Dick Tracy issue number 3. I actually quite enjoyed issue number 1 because I liked Dick Tracy growing up, and when I was reading this book, it had a lot of new reader-friendly vibes to it and a lot of action and gore. Kind of a striking issue number 1, to be honest with you. Well received, I think. Each passing issue, we're having the same themes replay over and over again. We have Flat Top doing Flat Top stuff, or whatever his name is. He's just mowing people down right now. There's a lot of like insider stuff, or there's a lot of, cops being on the payroll and trying to hide things. And Dick Tracy's kind of over animated. His surrounding characters are a little bit over animated, I think, as well. And it kind of like ruins the vibe, but like it's on brand for the character, I suppose, but it's kind of weird in a comic book format. And I gotta say, I still enjoy the book. It's just a book that I don't quite look forward to as much as I did after reading issue number 1. But yeah, we're on issue number 3. We're still trying to figure out what's going on right now. What are the mobsters actually doing? Who's on the payroll? Who's not? Dick Tracy's caught in the middle, and whenever we think we have a lead, it gets shut down immediately. And so we're kind of back at ground zero right now. But yeah, issue number 3 is out right now. Let me know if you guys are reading it. What you guys think of it down below. Next one from Mad Cave was Flash Gordon issue number 1. I was excited about this one because I don't really have any experience with Flash Gordon, to be honest with you. I missed that growing up. So this was my opportunity to jump in and see what was going on. I was pleasantly surprised with what I read right here. Now, it doesn't go into the, lore, mythology, power set, and history lesson of Flash Gordon. It gives you just enough to know what's going on right here. We're in a weird situation. We're on this prison planet. Flash Gordon is actually tied up. He's somewhat depowered right now, and he's with these other prisoners trying to figure out like how he got there. What's going on? Are his friends still alive? What brought him to this space? So that's where we are right now in the beginning of this issue. Now, of course, this turns into a big jailbreak issue, and he gets his powers back essentially, and he takes on like these Tyrannosaurus Rex guards with guns and stuff. Like that was so badass. I love that so much. So I would say like if you're not a Flash Gordon person and you think it's kind of lame, because that's kind of honestly where I was going into this book, this one definitely changed my perspective on the character, and it sounds like it's gonna be pretty fun. So yeah, if you're a long-term Flash Gordon fan, I can't imagine you wouldn't love this book. So give it a shot if you haven't yet, man, and let me know if you read it down below. Epitaphs from the Abyss from EC Comics. I'm so glad I'm able to say that right now. So this publisher's had a lot of trouble in the past. There's a little letter inside of here about all the trials and tribulations that they had to go through. So pretty cool that they were able to overcome all that and get to the place where they can actually put a comic back on the shelf again. So props to them. This is a horror anthology book. So if you're into those kinds of things, I think you're going to enjoy this one. I love the trade dress on here too. The trade dress is going to be amazing for a lot of these books coming out in the near future. Story-wise, wasn't digging it, to be honest with you. I like horror anthology books, but what tends to happen is there's not a whole lot of substance behind them because they're so short. They don't really have any character development opportunities because they're short stories, and sometimes the themes are a little bit wonky. This one seems a little politically driven for me, and I'm like right there in the middle. I'm not left, I'm not right, but I'm reading this book and I can't help but pick up on some of the things. So it kind of took me out of the story, and I kind of rolled my eyes a few different times in the book, to be honest. And the art varies, the quality of the story shifts here and there. There's a middle story though about this group who basically like holds your family hostage and you have to make like an impossible decision. That story was really good though. So that was a really fun one. The other ones were kind of throwaway, to be honest with you, but each of them still had, some redeeming factors here and there. But yeah, Epitaphs from the Abyss, I was expecting more, to be honest with you, but let me know if you guys read it. What'd you guys think of it down below? All right, next up from Fantagraphics, we have Hate Revisited issue number 2. Now, this is my introduction to the series of Hate. My understanding is that it's been out for a very long time. This is the Revisited series, issue number 2. It has a long run of characters and stories and things like that. But this one right here is focusing on Buddy and Stinky. And it's a few different short stories. I think some of the characters have grown up right now and they're reliving some of the memories of the past. Some of them have kids, and so they're dealing with the drama of them growing up and being teenagers. And you can't help but like reflect on where you were when you were a teenager. So there's all that going on inside of here. Again, there's a few different stories happening. They definitely take advantage of all the pages in here. The opening page is usually like an advertisement. Nope, it's a short little comic, one-page comic. Same with the back cover too. So they definitely take advantage of the real estate of the page itself, and they don't load it up with a bunch of ads like, the big two would do. So with all that said, I did have a good time reading the book, even though I have no previous knowledge of the characters themselves. A lot of funny bits in here. Will it blow your mind? No. But is it a good average Fantagraphics book that has a long legacy of characters that doesn't take a lot to get back into? Absolutely. So let me know if you've been reading Hate for the long run or you're picking up this issue for the first time. Let me know down below. Jason Aaron and Joelle Jones on TMNT issue number 1. Probably the biggest release of the week, I would say. Highly anticipated book coming off of the long IDW run. Issue number 150 came out months ago. So Jason Aaron's jumping into here. So we're seeing what's going on. Now, I did not read the previous run religiously. I did some spot checks here and there to see what's going on. I read the alpha. I read some of the other books that came out, like the free comic book day edition as well. All that reading or lack of reading, though, was not enough to orient me to where the turtles are right now. Like, this book opens up featuring Raphael. He's in prison right now. Why is he in prison? No clue. The other turtles are kind of scattered. They're not really a team anymore inside this book. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but there's really not much to spoil in here besides the fact that the turtles are split up, and eventually, I would assume, there's going to be some unifying threat to bring them back together. Raphael being in this prison system, he's playing by the rules right now. He knows he's a target. And so we're basically just dealing with that. It's kind of like a Rorschach in prison kind of a situation. Everyone's gunning for him, but nobody really wants to make a move. And when they do, they definitely pay the price. So whatever he did, he feels like he needs to be in prison. So I don't know what that was. But with that said, it is kind of fun to see him just kind of playing by the rules for right now. We do have a classic villain showing up in this story. Great action scenes in here. But I would say, like, if they spent a little bit of time refreshing people's memory or educating people on the front page, like how we got to where we were, I think this book would have landed a little bit better. I'm interested to see what you guys are thinking, especially if you have not been reading the Turtles run leading into this and you see a new number 1 from Jason Aaron and you're like, I'm so excited, I can finally jump in. Let me know if that's you, or if you've been reading this long term, how'd you like to transition to this number 1? Let me know, though, down below. All right, let's jump over to Nemesis Rogues Gallery issue number 1. Mark Miller on this one. We're over at Dark Horse Comics instead of Image, but it's continuing that same storyline from the Image run, so you can jump right into here and you'll be just fine. Nemesis was beaten practically to death. He's in this full body cast right now, and he's being watched over by these guards that he can't quite trust, like military guys, police officers. He's a high value target, did a lot of damage in the past, and then the ambassadors and nightclub and all that stuff helped save the world. Nemesis was on the villain side for sure, and we get to see the result of that. It's a pretty typical story. He's in recovery right now. He's never fully going to recover, so the powers that be need to break him out and basically use dark magic to revitalize him, and that's what we get inside of here. Lots of gore, lots of scenes in here that just make you twinge, and reminds you how resourceful and talented Nemesis is, and how well connected he is as well. So we don't really know his exact plan right now, but we do know the answer to the plan. There's some heroes that have stepped up right now, ones that I don't immediately recognize, but they're forming another team to take this secret society head on again, and I'm going to be really excited to see how this book plays out for sure. So Nemesis, if you liked how brutal it was over in Image, it's just as brutal over here at Dark Horse. Definitely check it out if you haven't. Let me know if you have down below. All right, going over to Boom Studios, we have Something Is Killing the Children, issue number 39. Got it for the Frizzen cover. Figured I might as well read it. I gotta be honest, I'm like more than done with Something Is Killing the Children at this point, because it just seems like a book that's treading water. It's not going anywhere. There's no connective story. I can't piece the last like 4 issues together in any cohesive way. And maybe that's me. Maybe I'm just, too jaded at this point for the series. This issue here, Erica, for some reason, goes to therapy, and she sits down with a therapist for the entire page. And it's just dialogue between her and the therapist about her childhood, her parents, the tragedy when she first saw a monster for the first time and it ripped her family apart. Her relationship with Jessica. She starts crying and screaming in the therapy session, things like that. And maybe she learns one lesson in this whole therapy session about maybe getting over her trauma, something like that. But, eventually she just kind of walks out, and that's it. So yeah, if you want to see Erica go to therapy, this is the issue for you, issue number 39. Get it for the Frizzen cover. Either way, let me know if you read it down below. Next up is Berserker Face Full of Bullets, issue number 1. Keanu Reeves, Jason Aaron, LaRocca, and Lee Lowridge on this one. This book reminds me so much of Conan because it's the same themes, but it still plays out. I love the fact that we have this immortal who's Berserker. He's going through time. They keep spinning off these one-shots from different time periods. Now we're kind of like in the Wild West in America. We're traveling around. This is a revenge mission. This one girl was marrying this guy that her father didn't like. He wants her to come back home. He's the evil dude and ends up ruining the wedding by murdering this husband-to-be. And now she's on this brutal revenge mission using the talents of Berserker at the same time to get revenge on her father and the gang and everything. This book has so many epic moments inside of it, just like any other Berserker book, to be honest with you. And it just leads to such brutal imagery in here. And so I really love everything Berserker's been doing. There's been like one or two things that maybe didn't click on all cylinders for me, like the Atlantis one, I think it was, with the big Kraken that attacked. That one wasn't as good as some of the other ones, but like everything else has been epic, like true to the story, true to the character. It just further pushes like the lore and the legend of this character. And I don't even care if there's no ending to it, and the fact that he's unstoppable. I want to see his path of destruction in any time frame possible, and I don't really care. Again, it's just like Conan, an unstoppable force taking care of business and just like dishing out sweet, sweet bloody revenge wherever he goes. Love the book, Berserker. Let me know if you're reading it down below. All right, guys, that was a lot of books. Let me know what books you read and what your favorite ones were down below in the comments. While you're down there, like, subscribe, share, hit the bell notification to be alerted whenever I put out new videos. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the comments.